Hello, Formula One fans. Welcome back to the world's best Formula One podcast that you're probably not listening to. If you are listening to this, you probably know it's not the world's best Formula One podcast. But what it is the Lap Down podcast hosted by myself, Dan, and Alex. And we're here today to talk to you about, what is it called again?
Oh, come on, you've got this.
The Emilia Romagna Formula One AWS Gran Premio del Made in Italy e del Emilia Romagna 2025 motor race.
That one. And for those of you not watching the video version of the podcast, Dan definitely didn't read that, and he knew that off the top of his head. And he just
100,000,000%.
rolled that out. And it's our last one of that Grand Prix name for a while.
Yep.
And look, it wasn't a bad one. It wasn't a bad one. I think we all came in with really low expectations for Imola. And actually, it kind of went, oh, you're getting rid of me? Well, fuck you. I'll give you a decent race then, shall I? It's a bit late now, lads. But yeah, hey, plenty of actual racing stuff to talk about. We don't need off-track drama this week.
Yeah, and it wasn't wet either.
It wasn't wet.
And it has been wet in Italy for the last couple of years they've been there. No, it was nice. It was nice to see. I like Imola, as you'd probably expect. And if you've listened to any of these episodes before in the past, you'd probably know why I like Imola. It's just a proper circuit. I don't necessarily think it works anymore because the cars are too fat. But the circuit's beautiful. The circuit works. It's great. But the cars are useless. So maybe Imola has a second life with some other formulas and some other series rolling around it. And I reckon you'll probably have a pretty good time of it. But not a bad way to sign off, and what I dare say will be the last time that we see Imola on the circuit. Maybe, definitely. Maybe we're never going back, and that's sad.
We don't talk about Formula E a lot on this podcast, and I'm not saying we should pay full attention to it, but we should probably give it
Formula E
half a glance.
That's because that's what they sound like. Sorry, carry on. Formula E, serious.
I could see Imola being a really good track for Formula E. Like, for all the reasons that you like Imola as a track, it would work for Formula E because the cars are half the size and they can just throw it down the inside of each other and, zip it through. There's plenty of hard braking zones and decently sharp corners and stuff that you can mess about with. I actually think that's almost the proof of concept, I think, for is a circuit any good as a racing circuit? Well, if Formula E can have a good race, Formula E had a good race at Monaco like a week and a half ago. So, and I mean, we know my feelings on Monaco. They don't do the full
Monaco though, do they?
I think so, or it's certainly a good chunk of Monaco. All the highlights, all the classics are covered off. But I just feel like if Formula E cars can go and make a track, can go and race on a track properly, that suggests that the problem is not with the track. And I could see a very good Formula E Grand Prix around Imola. But we had a very good Formula 1 Grand Prix about Imola with plenty of overtaking and stuff. And it's had an unfortunate, from my side, impact on the points table.
No, it's been brilliant.
You will update us on because, of course, the week that Max remembers how to drive and Red Bull remember how to make a car is the week that you've got fucking Max Verstappen.
Yeah, and I got a little bit excited when I saw Fernando Alonso kicking around in the top 10 for a little bit as well. I thought I was going to go double bubble there. But yes, for the first time since week 1 in Australia, I have taken the lead in the Lap Down Formula One World Championship podcast spreadsheet Wheel of Mystery and Misfortune Championship.com, sponsored by AWS. Not made in Italy, but made in the UK. So I've just broken 100. I am on exactly 100 points. I went from 75 to 100 with those 25 points that Max has picked up for me. You yourself, AB, you've got points. That's a positive. You had Sir Lewis Hamilton. He finished 4th, picked up 12, which takes you to 92. So I have an 8-point lead. There was a swing of... Well, somebody else can work that out because I can't be bothered.
I think
it's 13 points, is it? Yeah,
no,
I think I might have been 4 points. You might have been 4 points ahead. But yeah, Alonso, Gasly, both useless. Yeah, there's where we are. It's close still. There's 8 points in it, and we've still got many, many Grand Prix to go.
It's a wonderful proof of concept for the format, I'll tell you that much. And I will say, I was a little bit down in the dumps after quali because, good Lord, those Ferraris looked horrendous in qualifying. We've kind of talked about this in various stages over a few pods recently, but what is actually going on at Ferrari? Because they don't seem like Ferrari at the minute. And they sort of, at the start of the year, sort of seemed like Ferrari. But when was the last time Ferrari actually seemed like Ferrari?
Yeah, when did Michael Schumacher win his last World Championship? Could have been then. Early 2000s? I don't know. I don't know. Because the thing is, Lewis looked good in the race. That second half of the race, he looked like he had serious pace and obviously took his way up from, 12th to 4th, wasn't it, through the course of the Grand Prix. And I saw a lot of people, again, social media, because people are brave online and they're not kind of big and brave enough to say it to anybody's face, but they were like, oh, he got lucky because of the VSC and the safety car. It's Formula One. Yes, there is an element of luck to it, but yes, there is an element of building that into a strategy and kind of figuring out what you might have left over and where you might be and what you might be able to do. That's just it. Lando Norris won his first proper Grand Prix because of exactly that. Yes, one half of the world turned around and said it was shit. The other half said it was brilliant, and that's how this stuff works. And I suppose you would say traditionally you wouldn't expect VSCs and safety cars around there. It's not like there's huge Armco barriers for people to go and run off into and crash and fall apart, although a few of them found them in qualifying sessions. But, yeah, good. I don't mind it for Ferrari. They're never going to get it all right, are they? Because they're little kind of lapsadaisical, having a good time and a nice little espresso martini in the back of a pit box type vibe team here. And it's just not going to work. Red Bull are surgeons, aren't they? And McLaren have been the little junior doctor that's been on strike for the last half a dozen years because they don't get paid enough by the government. And then they've just kind of graduated and now they're surgeons too.
Do you not think that Ferrari should be like that specialist surgeon that when Lance Stroll breaks his hand mountain biking and needs to race 2 hours later, they send you to that special hand doctor who uses special stuff and makes it happen? Like, it just feels like I think Ferrari are meant to be good. They're meant to be the standard. There's a reason that Formula One pays Ferrari to race in Formula One. It's because they're supposed to be, the absolute top spec. And at the minute, they're like fourth spec. And we're going to go on to this in a bit. I'm almost going to say they're fifth spec because go Williams. And it just feels like Ferrari are so far down the pecking order. It's just not what the red team is supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we carry on this kind of surgical analogy, I suspect they probably were that specialist for a long time, but now they've advanced in years and you're probably turning up for like a cataracts operation. But obviously, I assume that's quite specialist at the point that you're playing around with an eye. It feels like it should be. But actually, they're in their 90s now. They probably should have retired, but maybe they've just splurged their pension pot on something, I don't know.
And they've got cataracts themselves.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. You sit down in the chair and the guy walks in and goes, oh yeah, don't worry, this will be not a problem at all. I've done thousands of these in my career. And you recognise him, you go, yeah, fantastic surgeon. Gets the scalpel out of the tray and the hands kind of going like this back towards your retina and you're thinking, do you know what? I'll take my chances and just see if I go blind naturally.
Glasses director got a sale on, I think. I might just get a couple of
figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, Williams. Up the Williams. Super James Vowles. Super Carl Bono. It's just working well. And as I said at the start of the year, Vowles has just lied to us. He's told us that 25 doesn't matter. It does matter because you're doing well.
Yeah. And I know we shuffle the deck completely next year. I know that the rational side of my brain tells me that 2025 performance is in no way an indication of 2026. And then this side of my brain tells me that we're going to have a two-way battle at the front because it's going to be Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz in the Williams. Spectators are going to get bored. Will Williams domination bore fans? That's my question.
No. No, because it's...
But they're doing well, and the hamster with the flag and stuff.
But this is the thing. I think it's a bit cutesy, isn't it?
It's lovely. It's genuinely
it's nice.
lovely. And here's a genuine question for the internet: is anyone not a Williams fan at the minute? Like, how could you not like that team? Two incredibly likable drivers. I'm going to say fundamentally the most likable team principal, and Williams' social media team shout out to you. You get a lot of credit for putting that man in front of a camera at every opportunity and just letting him speak, because I will listen to him read me any book in the world ever. He can read me the manual for something and I will listen. How can you not like Williams at the minute? How can you not like Williams at the minute?
They've got to be the most inoffensive team.
Oh, yeah.
Out there, haven't they?
Even
Because the thing is,
branding.
and let's just kind of let's think about this objectionally, right? Red Bull straight away, you've got half of the world that doesn't like Max, so you can chop them off straight away. Let's not even talk about Christian Horner. Then you look at Ferrari and you go, well, the other half of the world don't like Lewis Hamilton, so that's them gone straight away. McLaren, well, I don't know. I think they did like them, but I think they've started to get a little bit upset with Lando that he's not quite turning out to be these kind of superstars.
And McLaren look quick, so people don't like the
also
car that's
that.
quick.
Also that. Then what comes next? Then it's Aston Martin. Well,
Mercedes.
they're obviously daddy's cash. Mercedes.
I think people are okay with Mercedes at the minute while they're sort of got an underdog
I think
role
Toto's
and...
the downfall there. I think a lot of people still don't like it because it's called a motor race, Mikey.
I'm sorry, where's he from?
No, he's actually related to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Interesting. And where are both of those people from in the world?
Still not sure.
I think there's a wonderful correlation, isn't there, between the Red Bull side of things and the I think anyone that wasn't invested in 2021, I get the sense they're probably behind Mercedes at the minute.
Yeah.
Or happy to see them do well. And Antonelli's adorable and is 12-year-old in the car.
Alpine
well,
French. Haas are so shit they don't matter.
Yeah.
Stay
there. They're green.
Yeah, well, they fall into the Haas category.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, you've got V-Carb, whatever they're called at the moment. People
they've
don't
got
like
Liam
them.
Lawson, which doesn't help, but then they've got Isaac Hadjar, which everyone's, I think, pretty cool with.
But the other thing as well is they are just the second team, aren't they? And I think that's what winds people
that
up,
performance has really disappeared, by the way. That's something to pick up on. That has
Get
actually,
you
I
back
think,
in it, mate.
It's gone under the radar massively that V-Carb performance has... I'm not going to say dropped off a cliff. I mean, Hadjar still finished P9 in this Grand Prix and did so pretty tidily. But, I mean, at the start of the season, the talk was, should they put Max Verstappen in the V-Carb because it would be quicker? I wouldn't say we're quite at that level anymore. But they just seem to have fallen away. Obviously, Liam Lawson's probably not helping that cause. But, yeah, interesting. But
Maybe they've had the message.
Don't you
They've said,
dare.
Could you just take a few horsepower out of this, please? Because otherwise this is going to get a bit embarrassing and Daddy's not going to be happy.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And I wonder, it's a wonderful segue. I'm going to put my tin foil on again, right? I've taken it back out of the drawer. It's been in the drawer for a little while. And I'm bringing it back out of the drawer again. It's had a wash and an iron. Do Aston Martin slightly self-sabotage Fernando Alonso to save the blushes of Lance Stroll if they're not in a position? If Alonso was in P3 for whatever reason, I don't think they're gonna do that. Do they deliberately try and close that gap between Alonso and Stroll so that he doesn't look that shit? Do they put him on an extra pit stop? Do they deliberately put him on the strategy they know is 20% worse so that it knocks him down the field? Are they just keeping those cars closer together so that Lance doesn't look like an absolute turd?
It's not something I've thought of. It really isn't. But I'll buy it. I will buy it. I think if that is the case, though, I think that means that Fernando doesn't care anymore. Because knowing what Fernando's done in the past at a couple of these teams where all of the dollies not even his pram have ended up out of it, I dare say he might have something to whinge about there, but...
Well, he did get a little bit whingy on the radio this weekend for the first time.
Maybe. Hey, look, I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying you're wrong.
And I'm not saying tinfoil hats are meant to be comfortable. They're not a casual garm. We don't put them on lightly. We put them on, we sweat a little bit, we take them off again.
Yeah.
We've probably gone long enough.
Though, isn't he, Lance Stroll?
He is shit, yeah. He also didn't even look like he had fun in the Lego race. I watched the highlights package, the supercut that Formula One put on YouTube of basically every angle they had and all the driver cameras and stuff. Wonderful 15 minutes of just 19 blokes giggling like absolute 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then Lance Stroll's there. And it's like, ugh.
He kind of also looks like a quantity surveyor. Like a 53-year-old quantity surveyor that's been commuting in and out of Manhattan from Long Island for the last 25 years of his life or something. It's
absolutely
just,
minted because he's a quantity surveyor.
Yes.
No joy in it.
Absolutely none. You can tell there is none in those eyes.
Correct. No, I think it's all in the eyes. I think it's a good point. We've done really well to come this far into the podcast and have not said the words turn one. There's quite a lot of turn one stuff from this weekend, and I don't know who it was, but there was a particularly investigative journalism podcast that I listened to that said there was going to be some stuff into turn one and possibly on lap one. And then I was watching the Grand Prix and they came to mind because guess what happened lap one, turn one?
They must be good. I'll tell you what, if you're listening to this, you should go and listen to them.
Yeah, it's like lap
They
down,
know what they're talking
F1
about.
chatty batty or something like that. Lap one, turn one.
What a place.
We all saw it coming. How did Oscar not see it coming?
Well, I think because Max came from about 19th, I think, to make that move. That was...
But he always does.
Yeah, I know, and I know you're not going to like this because you've said in the pre-recording of this show that you didn't like it when people have glazed that move, but fuck me, that was good. Like, he has come from so far back. I don't know what Oscar was doing. I mean, he clearly just was worrying about George. Maybe he didn't even realise that Max was there anymore. But how has he hung that round the outside from that far back to go from third to first in a corner that, I mean, you were expecting and I was expecting fisticuffs and kerfuffles and shenanigans going on. Not one of the cleanest and best overtakes that you'll have seen in the last decade.
And this is a slightly rhetorical question because as we've established on this podcast, neither of us really understand the overtaking rules anymore.
No.
And the overtaking racecraft almost because they come with the rules. Was it one of the cleanest overtakes in recent memory into a not necessarily clean overtaking corner because Oscar did what other people have refused to do and got his right foot off and went, nah, you know what, this car's been pretty quick the last few weeks. You can have turn one, corner one, lap one max, because by the end of lap one I'll have steamed past you again, so I'm going to keep my ears dry here and my nose, in joint, off you go. Because he did definitely, you can see it on the higher shot. He hung him there certainly through like the first half of that chicane.
Yeah.
Is it technically turn two, the second wiggle of a chicane?
Is believe
that a second
so.
Turn? I'll call it
so.
turn two. He hangs in there turn one and he tries to make it work. And then he definitely lifts off into, through turn two and he slots right back in. So he's played a role in that. Yes, he left the door wide open in the first place. Weird move. But then he definitely took that. When the option that Max usually gives you is back down or crash, Oscar very much took the back down option. I think that was a self-confidence thing of, it's fine, I'll get you back later. And then it didn't work out. Is that what's saved this from being another controversial turn one? Because Oscar went, I'm leading the world championship, I don't need this right now. Fine, have it.
Possibly. I'll double it as well because I reckon he's probably backed out of turn two as well. Because I would imagine, had they have gone side by side at the exit of turn two, there wouldn't have been the same favour paid the other way round. And that road there would have got awful lot smaller to that gravel on what would have turned into be turn three, which would have been another left-hander, which would have then been the inside line for Oscar to carry on down to the next set of wiggly bits. I think the initial bit genuinely was, with that left-hander coming up, with George behind him, he was looking in his left-hand mirror, he was looking left, looking for that apex, got halfway around the corner, and then heard like a little beep, a bee or a buzzy thing here, and just kind of went, holy fuck, where is he come? I think there's an element there of he did not expect Max to be there at all. I mean, I think it was Coulthard on the highlights said about the fact that actually Max, despite being so far back, had a completely clear view of where he needed to be, where he needed to brake, and actually what George and Oscar were doing on the inside of that circuit was kind of irrelevant to Max. He knew where he could go because they weren't thinking about him, they weren't worrying about him, they'd checked out, and Max said something else. One other thing before we segue nicely onto the next bit, did you see that Max was also then leading the iRacing 24 hours of the Nordschleife a couple of hours after winning the whatever the bloody hell the Grand Prix called in Imola?
Straight in. Just straight bowling. How is he not? And I know the answer is because it would be just too much money. But how is he not sponsored by iRacing, like on the helmet? Like, how is he not an official brand ambassador at this point? The bloke's logged more hours than
free as well,
else.
wouldn't he?
Yeah,
wouldn't he do it for free?
I can see. We talked so many times about what will Max do when he gives it up. I can see him just being a pro iRacing player because he's got the kid at home.
Streamer.
He could be rocking the baby like with one hand on the steering wheel, still dominating everything. France permitting the shit out of everything.
Thanks for the likes.
There you go. Cheers, lads.
Thanks for the bits.
Thanks for the follow. Hey, look, I will clarify it as well. It is a good move. Absolutely. He has just not braked until far later than everyone should have braked. There's just so much overreactionary stuff about it's the greatest thing anyone's ever done on a racetrack ever. And it's like, let's just calm ourselves down. It was one of like 6 or 7 quite daring overtakes around the outside into that corner this weekend. Let's just... Well done. Great overtake. Next is all I was going to say. But well done, everybody, for not crashing.
It was very good.
Except the Williams and Charles Leclerc, who...
But they didn't crash.
Well, no, they did what we expected to happen lap 1, turn 1. They just did it on like lap 55 or something.
60.
60?
Yeah, we waited a bit longer. It was lap 60, turn 1. The other... I mean, that just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. But yeah, Charles was a naughty boy.
Should we... and I was going to say, should we play the Devil's Stewards for a second, which we're very good at doing. Let's assume that Ferrari don't give that place back. Because I think Ferrari gave the place back not out of an admission of guilt, but out of just playing the percentages of would we rather give up like 2 points or whatever the difference was between those positions compared to potentially double-digit points with the 5-second penalty. Would he have gotten a 5-second penalty, or should he have gotten a 5-second penalty in your Dan Stewart opinion?
It's really hard to judge it because it was about the only incident that really happened, wasn't it? At that corner. So there was no real kind of yardstick to measure it by. The fact that it happened in the race and would have had a significant impact, I believe, on results of others, then you'd go so far as to say that, yes, it would be susceptible to a penalty. I think if we're being consistent throughout, I think, yes, give the penalty because it does continue the tone that has been set over the last couple of weeks. And I think that's something that every Formula One fan has kind of cried for over the last year, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years now, to say all we want is consistency. We don't care which way you go, but for us as fans, we need to understand what the rules are and how you're going to apply them. And then also the 20 of them that are doing circles really quickly need to understand as to what that yardstick is. Because there was a clip, Damon Hill, I think, was on a podcast lately. And obviously his stock's not particularly high amongst some of the Red Bull and Dutch kind of supporting Formula One fans. But he was saying as well, he was like, you can't just have a sport where you can just carelessly run people off the road. We're meant to be talking about high-powered, highly engineered, precision pieces of equipment here that are tested to the nth degree for safety, for aerodynamics, for speed, power, reliability. And then you've got a bunch of drivers in there that just go out and drive them like rental go-karts. He said, like, these overtakes should be very similar to what we saw with Max and Oscar at lap 1, turn 1. They should be clean. They should be slick. They should be precise. But at the minute in the sport, it all just gets a bit clumsy and a bit awkward, which is what happened, I think, between Charles and Albon.
Yeah. I think they did do the right thing in giving it back because he was closing. I think that's the other situational thing. This was not an outrageous lunge move by Alex Albon. He had got himself, closer and closer and closer. He, slipstreamed and DRS'd his way to, at the very worst, alongside coming into that corner. And I think he was very entitled to. And that's where that one possibly differs from like Saudi and those kind of ones where we're debating, and classic Brazil turn 1 incident stuff. Yeah. This is not an audacious, sending it kind of lick the stamp job. This is we're here coming battling on equal terms into this corner. So I think, yeah, it was possibly a little bit cheeky running him out. Would it help, do you think, or would it make things more confusing if the FIA basically came out and did go and sit in Formula 1 25, right? Make a promo for the new game.
Yep.
And simulate some turn one stuff, right? And put a video out. Show, and you get those cricket videos, don't you, where it's like, hey, we're going to show you an LBW shout. Do you think it was out or not out?
Yeah.
Show us 10 different turn ones of the same corner if you want. And go, right, here's what we see in this corner, and here's why. See that tyre, bang, bang, bang. Because at the minute, we're working off those awful FIA technical documents that are always awkwardly written in terms of grammar. And sometimes they have a lot of paragraphs, and sometimes they have very little, and it's messy. Show us what you're looking for, and then we can have a better understanding when we see it. Because trying to interpret words into different situations all the time is a lot trickier. Give us that crime scene, aircraft recreation, animation thing, and then I think it makes it a little bit clearer, possibly, because you can go, oh yeah, that looked like example 3. I get it now. That's why that was a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, you are asking to be treated like an adult, which doesn't go particularly well, does it, in 2025 in many places around the world. So yeah, hey, look, I really like it. I'll buy into it. I think if you can get that information in a simplified manner, which clearly pictures are considerably simpler than a 3,000-page Word document in Times New Roman font size 3 or whatever it is. So, yeah, I'll buy it. Make it happen, Formula One. Do it. Promo the game. Give Cody's or EA, whoever does the game now. I think is it EA Sports now that does the game?
EA owns Cody's. So you're right on both counts. Couldn't lose.
Get in there. Yeah, do it. Make it happen. Give us some. Yeah, plus as well, that'd be good content as well to see if we were just Formula One stewards. Be
a steward. That would just be fun. Apart from anything else, that would just be fun. And then our last thing, because we'll be back later this week with some Monaco preview, which we're all looking forward to.
I love Monaco.
Franco Colapinto exists. He is the preferred driver of the Lapdown podcast, so we have to give him a mention. Not a great weekend for our boy.
He existed slightly harder on Saturday than Sunday, didn't he?
Yes. So you couldn't watch sort of the full 63 laps this weekend, and you said to me you didn't think they said the word Colapinto in any of the highlights. No. And I watched the full 63 laps, and I'm not sure they said Colapinto in the full broadcast. He was just kind of not there, but in a way, after Saturday, that's not the worst thing. Saturday, got a little bit keen. This can happen. Some particularly clever podcast said he was a little bit crash happy, and some fans suggested that we look at the data. Look at that data.
Yeah.
Crashed it, didn't he? But we love him.
Every single bit of data that's left at Imola.
But we love him, and we will always love him no matter what he does. He just didn't do anything this weekend. So
no.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit though. We did talk about the whole 5 race thing. It sounds like Alpine are trying to distance themselves from that chatter though. So it might be that he is their boy now. Because
he's sponsored by the world's best Argentine supermarket, mate. Why would he not want to be invested in big time?
Not a supermarket. It's not a supermarket, Dan. It's not a supermarket. You can't say supermarket. It's not a supermarket. It's not a supermarket. No supermarket. Can't buy onions. But you don't need to buy onions.
I don't need them right now, to be honest with you.
No, you can buy anything else.
Are they big, Argentina, for exporting onions?
They are now.
Nice.
They are now. Right then, any other business?
No, I have no AOBs. Do you have any AOBs?
I have no AOBs, except to ask where they can find you on the internet should they wish to catch up with you, Dan.
Well, of course. You can follow me on the social medias, at DanJads_ on multiple platforms, and you can have a splendid time watching a very spiffing game of cricket.
Perfect.
How about you, sir?
If you want to come watch me play games, twitch.tv/hey look, it's Alex. I'm doing that with more of an Australian accent than Dan did. We'll be back later in this week to preview my worst race of the year and your best race of the year. And so we'll probably come to blows on Thursday with that. But in the meantime, lapdownpod on your socials, lapdownpod@gmail.com if you want to email us. Maybe if you want to recreate, if someone would like to recreate some stewarding incidents for us, that's some summer content. If someone's got the game and they want to do that, Cody's, if you've got the game and you want to do that, we'll make your content for you. We'll do it. But in the meantime, have a wonderful couple of days. And
Or we create it.
Or we create it.
We could go into open lobbies on F125 and we can... Nah, that's a stupid idea.
Oh, I can barely get around. I'm learning manual gears at the minute. I can barely get around corners by myself.
Is F125 even out?
No, soon. Hopefully they'll send us a
soon.
code if we say it enough times. F125.
Yeah.
EN Codemasters. Have a good couple of days. We'll see you later, everybody.
See ya.